Do you still go TK Maxx Rutland and go?
Yeah. It's still in there. Yeah, it's still knocking about at the back of the shelf, and like have a little cry, like wipe my tears with a hoodie. But
Welcome to the Just Pull the Trigger podcast.
We talk to people who have made the pivot, whether in business, career, or life,
And find out what happens when you stop overthinking and just go for it.
On today's episode, we're chatting to Ross Giles, owner of e-commerce brands That's Nice That and No Mercy. In the show, we discuss the dangers of relying on one big customer, the lessons learned from tough times, and I'm left hanging, wondering, can you do jiu-jitsu outside? All this to come on Just Pull the Trigger.
okay.
Where's the name come from?
What? That's nice. That.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just. I think I remember back in the day trying to Google different.
Was it a locality thing? Is that something you say like in Leicestershire?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think I remember just sort of Googling and thinking, what domain's free and can I do this and that one's not taken and we wanted It's Nice That and then there's someone else taking that. Now I say that it sounds weird because That's Nice That seems like the thing. Yeah, but I was like, well, That's Nice, that's pretty good, and it just went from there. And then I think we always had this idea we might change it one day, and then it kind of stuck. And as the brand grew, we never really bothered going back to change it. To be honest with you, so it's always been there. But a lot of things like that, I think they come out of nowhere. You kind of expect to have this crazy big story, and my mum always said That's Nice That to me, and it's just sitting there and trying to jot a few ideas down, basically.
Yeah.
It's good though, because like you said, you even in your household you've started saying That's Nice That.
Adopted it.
Yeah, but it is
Just
even.
leave it there,
Yeah, but even if like, you know, for people that maybe in the Midlands or up north, you know, they would say that, but actually down south, it's very a national thing. You know?
Yeah, I said it to like my wife, and she was like, "What?"
That was one of the reasons we wanted to
And now we
change
say it all the time.
Yeah, but that's one of the reasons we want to change it because there does tend to be the divide in the country where if it's down south, people are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Whereas up north, people seem to get it and it seems to understand it. So we did look for a long time at trying to change it and find something that was more all encompassing, but then. Again, same sort of problem, which is the domain. What do we want it to sort of? What do we want it to say? What do we want the customers to feel about it? And it's just always stuck with That's Nice That. And sometimes it's, I don't know, it's tough because you kind of spend the energy on the wrong thing. And I think that's what I spent a long time trying to think. When the brand name's perfect, everything else will be great. And you look at it and you think like, as long as the brand name, I don't want to say good is good enough, but a lot of the time with those things,
Yeah, you can overthink.
Yeah, you can overthink it, and you can be like, I'm going to polish it a bit more. And you're like, you need to just do the marketing and get the actual orders in.
Yes,
is the most
that's
important thing. 'Cause, not always. People don't always care about the name, and they're just quite happy to buy kind of what it is. So a lot of those things. So.
I think it's the more like the message you're getting across.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
They care about rather than the actual. I mean, I'll probably get scathed online for this, but like the actual brand or the logo or whatever. I think people.
And I think some things, I don't know, if you're like a Nike or an Adidas or whatever, then there's huge weight in the name of the brand. But a lot of times when you're like a certain size, people are kind of, they're happy as long as you're doing the service they want and they remember you. That's the sort of the most important thing.
They don't get it right first time. Their logos are always changing.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing I thought of when we were sort of developing it, is that you look at the big massive brands, if they can't get it right first time, then don't be ashamed to take a step back and to change it, because that's exactly what we did. And we redesigned it, and we'll bring out new brand names and bring out new ideas, and you look at it and you think, well, like I'm sort of happy to swap it around. And I think it's getting started sometimes, because you can sometimes spend I don't know 3 to 6 months and just being like, well, if I get the name right, I'll start then.
It's was it the if then, you know, or when then, or when I've got that, then it will be perfect.
Exactly. And you think like, I'll wait until it's all perfect and all my ducks are lined up, and then then it'll be amazing. And it doesn't really work.
You just got to feel your way through it, basically, haven't you?
They're never in perfect time. Just keep
going. Exactly. And we've launched a few of the brands, and we've done that. And I think the thing with that is like fail fast and just do it as quickly as you can. And we've launched things when we've not had the stock, and we've launched things we've not really got the brand name sorted, and we're just to try and feel what people feel about it. And you learn so much more that way.
Just for research purposes.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes we've launched a few brands before where we've not had the product in, or under the That's Nice That brand where we've not actually had the product in. We've put the feelers out to see if anyone's interested in it. If there's, I don't know, whatever it might be, if there's a new bit of clothing or whatever it would happen to be. If people are interested, then great, we'll continue down that road. And if they don't really get much buzz about it, then we won't get more stock, and we don't feel any stock kind of thing.
Feel that interest.
Yeah, exactly. So, whereas a lot of people I know spend a long, long time on getting it all perfect and getting it all right, and
they probably never launch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's so many people that like doing that, where they almost tease themselves with launching it, and then they never really get going, and they almost make themselves feel busy. And I think I used to be like that, where I used to be a bit of a busy idiot, where I'd look at my day and I'd be like, oh my God, I've been so busy today, I've not stopped. You'd be like, I haven't actually moved the needle anywhere. And I'm trying now, which is really tough sometimes, but you try now to, every day I go into work, I'm like, even if I'm doing like 4 or 5 hours of work and that's it, like solid sort of deep work, I look at it and I think, have I actually moved the needle?
Yeah.
Have I actually done anything that's useful?
Yeah.
Like, it's all well and good, I don't know, unclogging a printer, but like it doesn't actually move the needle anywhere further forward.
Yeah.
So
if you're just doing the same things over and over again.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is so at the start of the business, it's so easy to do.
very easy to do.
Yeah,
And it's just maintenance a lot.
Yeah,
of it,
there's ebbs and flows of different things because you do need an element of that, and there's like sort of urgent tasks that need doing in the day, which you'll always get sucked into. But it's just trying to always make sure you're just pushing it a little bit further forward and pushing the needle on and pushing the needle on. And that I don't know, I'm my own worst enemy with it, where I sort of beat myself up a little bit and think, oh, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? And I'm sort of have a little timer on my desk and I start it, and I'm like, as soon as I get interrupted, I stop the timer and I'm like, I've only done an hour of work today. I need to get more done, and I'm my own worst enemy with it. And I don't know, it does sort of help me keep focused. But then you do sort of beat yourself up if it's not going well. But that's just part of the journey, I suppose, isn't it? And you've got to just play around with it and figure it out and live it at your own pace.
Absolutely. So it's nice. Was that your first business?
That was no, it wasn't actually, no. So when I first started, I came out of uni, and then I thought, this is going to be amazing. They're going to open the doors and there's going to be all these jobs available, and it wasn't like that at all. So I got out and I could not find a job. I studied graphic design. I couldn't find a job, and I got a few offers for like placement places and like free work and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, this is shit. Like, I've just gone to uni. I was the first person in my family to go to uni, and I was like, I've gone to uni, done all these things, and everyone was like, uncles and aunties and things, well, you're going to have so many jobs. And I was like, yeah, gosh, yeah, no problems. And it just didn't really work like that. And I got found in a position where I was so embarrassed by it because I was like, this is awful. Like, I'm the first person in my family to go to uni, and I just can't get anything out of it. And then I decided to start a bit of a side hustle. I actually started off randomly. A friend of mine was doing property inspections, and I was like, oh, that sounds all right. I'll give that a bit of a go. One of the most boring jobs I've ever done in my life, but it paid the bills for a time, and that sort of got me a little bit of a buzz for it. Where the more work you put in, the more you got out of it.
Was that rentals? Or
yeah, rental properties, and I've always had a bit of an interest in property anyway, so that wasn't too bad. And then we started that into a business, got a few estate agents on board. And it was fine. It did its job for a time, but it was like cash flow was a nightmare. Some days you'd be really, really busy, and some days you'd have no work at all. And then all the estate agents all wanted it to sort of be drummed down to on the lowest cost that they could possibly get away with. So yeah, that one wasn't really one, and it was also just so labour heavy and so boring that I just didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, this is absolutely awful. This isn't fun. And then I just started selling online. But to be honest, when I started selling online, I started selling just any old sort of crap I can get my hands on. I was like going to markets and sort of buying it, refurbing it a little bit, selling it on, buying it in for like £1, selling it on for 10 and that kind of stuff. And it was back when kind of postage costs was really cheap and things like that. So you were never putting too much risk in. And I was running that out of a shed in my parents' garden at the time. And I thought it was brilliant. And we got to a decent amount of turnover. But the problem we always found was that it was just like you were just squeezed on the margin. So if you were selling, I don't know, like a glass or something like that, and someone else selling the same one, it'd just be all about margin, all about the lowest cost, and that's all that mattered. So I remember looking at it and thinking, this is just an awful business to be in, because you're always going to be doing it for the cheapest amount you can get away with. And don't get me wrong, back then it wasn't as competitive, so there was still margin in it. But now if you're doing that on Amazon, you just get absolutely annihilated and you can't really do it. Then I looked and I thought, what if we like personalised? I think we were selling a lot of cups at the time, a lot of mugs. And I thought, what about if we personalise these and we put like a name on it? Then all of a sudden we're in a totally different market, and we can, instead of that mug being a £5, it can be 10, 15, 20 quid. And then that's kind of where it grew from. I remember we bought like a mug printer, and we bought like another printer, like a big large format printer, all the money I had at the time. And I was like, let's just see how this goes. If this works, there's kind of something in this. And then that quickly overtook the other business. Margins were so much better on that as well, and it just went from there really, and that's kind of where we focused, and then it just kind of grew and grew and grew, and we just bought more and more and more kit and offered more and more services, and it's just kind of grown from that position basically.
And what, marketing wise, what was your successful avenues?
Yeah, so that's where we sort of struggled when we initially started the business. So it was a lot of marketplaces, and that's like at the time it was great because marketplaces are really, really good. You can kind of start really small, and you can grow it really, really quickly, and there's no real outlay of anything, and you're getting these sales in straight away, and you're only paying commission if you sell, which is brilliant. And at the time I was like, this is amazing. I found like an unlimited money cheat here, and this is amazing. But you quickly get to a limit, and you sort of start to hit the upper limit of what you can get away with, and then you start getting in the problems of staff complexity and like how does this printer work, and you get sort of tied up in operations so much, and which is kind of the position we found ourselves in. You start hitting the ceiling of like, I can't get this to go any higher. Something has to give. And then we started cutting back on different products. So we would have, we started focusing on the more profitable products, and then you can't find that people start competing on those products. And it just got more and more complicated. So yeah, initially it was very much kind of the eBays and the Amazons, Etsy's, things like that, which were great, but again, they have their limit. And also, you're not ever really speaking to the customer. You're dealing with the marketplace, which is always a problem. So again, a couple of years ago, we looked at it and I remember thinking, I was like, we need to sort of build a brand around this. And we tried with That's Nice Style, we tried building a brand and we got like moderate success out of it. But the issue is that we ended up being in a position where the cost to acquire a customer was so high that you wouldn't necessarily make money on the first sale, and you'd have to rely on them to come back for like birthdays or Christmas or whatever, with it being gifting. The B2B side was a different thing, because that was the customers were paying like a lot more, so it was a bit of a different thing. But yeah, so that was always a tough one. And then we looked at it and we're like, this isn't working. We were spending, say 20 quid to acquire a customer, but the margin on it was say 20 quid. So you just weren't coming out with anything, or you may be losing it by the time you fulfilled the order.
Which is fine if they're going to return.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and a lot of the time they would, so it wasn't too bad. But again, if you're only a small business, you don't necessarily have the margin to sit there for 6 months and think, oh, we're going to wait for this. And I don't know, if you're Amazon, you can comfortably do that. So again, we never really got to the point where we were splitting the money enough to justify. Do you know what I mean? It going through, some of it was going through Amazon, some of it was going through, and not enough was ever going through the website. We weren't really getting this flywheel of people coming back to the website. So we tried launching a few different brands. We actually, in the middle of that, we did launch a men's clothing brand that did amazingly well. It kind of took off, and that had all the things we wanted. But again, you're sort of clever afterwards, but we were sort of selling it through other channels. So we were reliant on wholesale and shops and things like that. So sold it through Foot Asylum. We got stock nationwide. I mean, this is all like, I'm summarising it, all like happened really quickly, but we basically launched it with just a few caps. All we did was just a few caps with the logo on it, and that was kind of it. And thought, let's just see what happens. I think we spent maybe $2,000 on the first order, and that was it. And we're like, fuck it, let's give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? It did really well to begin with. It was back when Instagram, you'd post on someone on Instagram, everyone would see it, and it's like nowadays you get things go viral, but no one really cares about it as much. It doesn't resonate with people. Whereas back then, people couldn't believe that they could buy a cap that they'd seen on their Instagram, and we would get like people from Love Island or whatever to wear it, and it would just go like wildfire. So it really mattered them. So we kept doing that, and then Foot Asylum saw it, and they were like, "This is exactly what we want. This is like filling a sort of hole that we want. This is amazing. We couldn't believe it. It just all seemed to happen so easily." And I think looking back at it in hindsight, we got sort of duped into trusting Foot Asylum with what they wanted to do, and we were sort of, without realizing, we'd sort of segued into a similar business model where we were reliant on somebody else to drive the business forward. We were doing the design stuff, so we were really, really happy with it. I had like a team of people who were doing the design stuff, and I was running it with my brother as well. So it was amazing. We thought, oh, this is fantastic. Like, we're doing the fun bit, and they can do the boring bit, and it's great. But we didn't realize again that we weren't having that relationship with the customer, and it was all during COVID. And when COVID hit, Foot Asylum pretty much closed the doors. Because Foot Asylum were doing so well with it, all the independent shops would take it on as well. But as soon as that stopped, they stopped. The whole thing stopped, and yeah, it all came sort of crashing down quite quickly. A lot of the shops closed with a lot of our stock behind the doors, and we couldn't get hold of it as they were liquidating. Foot Asylum didn't want to pay for the stock because they were trying to argue that we can't sell it, and it was just a nightmare for cash flow. So I think when we closed, we had it was about £250,000 worth of stock, wholesale price, so probably a couple of £1 million worth at retail. And we'd built it as a wholesale business, so we didn't really have huge amounts going through the website. We were doing okay, but we were doing maybe 30-40 grand a month or something like that, which was nowhere near enough to get rid of £2 million of the stock. It was like years and years and years worth of stock. And obviously with clothing, people expect new stuff to be coming out. Trends change all the time. So we just couldn't keep up with it. So it was an absolute nightmare. And obviously factories wanting paying and all that kind of stuff. So you end up being in a position where you're trying to, do you know what I mean, rob from other people to sort of pay other people off, and it ends up being a bloody nightmare. So yeah, we had factories sort of, we were apologising and saying, "I'm really sorry, we will pay you, we're trying our best," but you just didn't have it to give, and it was just an absolute headache. And then eventually we did sell off all the dead stock to, I think it was TK Maxx took a lot of it, and then a few other shops that were just happy to get like an absolute bargain. Yeah. Which kind of cleared all the debts, and we started from scratch, and we sort of dusted ourselves down and learned a lot of hard lessons from it, basically. Yeah.
So, but you've gone into a slightly new venture with No Mercy.
Yeah. So we did take a long time off. So I think we ended that in 2021, maybe 2022. We limped on for a long time. We tried our best, but we were doing it with like a handstand behind our back, basically, because we had the stock, but we just didn't have anything to do any marketing. So we spent a long time trying to sort of rebuild it back up, and we just never get it back to where it was. And then we got rid of the business. Felt like we sort of got away with our lives a little bit, and we thought, well, let's just just call it a day, and then never ever talk about clothing again. And do you know what I mean? I'm never wearing clothes again, never doing anything again, and all that kind of stuff.
That's like that. Nice.
Yeah, so That's Nice That was always running the whole
still
time.
going.
So yeah, and because we knew that That's Nice That was great, but it didn't have that brand loyalty that maybe another brand had, and we did see that with Nuevo. It was called Nuevo Club, the brand that we were running. But we could just never get the flywheel to sort of. I think basically we got too big too quick.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting in a position where we were so reliant on Foot Asylum and things like that. And we should have said like thanks but no thanks, which would have been a really difficult thing to do.
That would have been difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the position we were in. I mean, we were selling. I think they were taking like hundreds of thousands of units a month. It was just absolutely crazy. I think at our peak, they were taking like 80, 90,000 t-shirts and hoodies a month off of us, which was just unbelievable. So, and we were maybe selling at the same time, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 on our own website. So we thought this was amazing. Like this is going to last forever. This is great. But again, in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing, and we should have looked at it and said, like, we need to stop this, and we need to build our own business up. But it's so difficult to turn that away.
That's big.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the shops were saying how much they loved it, and the high street shops were saying how much they loved it, and all the little independents. And we're like, it'd be really difficult to turn that all away and sort of stick to our guns. But again, that's what we should have done. Yeah, and then we started a few other brands in between. So we thought, clothing's not for us, and we kind of unlearned, and we're like, this is just, not the one. We're never going to do clothing again, and that was kind of that. And sort of looking back at it, it was silly because we got rid of all the knowledge we kind of had from that industry, and we're like, don't want to do it anymore, and sort of a little bit throwing our toys out the pram. We started a few other brands in between. We really focused on the B2B side of That's Nice That, which was amazing. And then we also... we did a few different things. We did a men's jewelry brand, which we never really got very far with, and just a few little side projects. And that we did a women's jewelry brand, and just things like this. We were like, let's just put the feelers out there. We never went big on them. We just bought a little bit of stock, and let's see if we can get anywhere with it. And then I was just thinking about it before another day, and I thought, what if we got the stock? So there's No Mercy is the new site we've started, and I thought, well, during COVID, I took up jiu-jitsu as well, and I was the whole sort of brand launch from that. Really, I was taking that. The gear out there was pretty crap that you could buy for that sort of stuff, and I just didn't like any of it. And a lot of things, obviously, after a business failing, you're mentally a little bit drained, and the whole thing's a little bit of a mess. And I was like, the jiu-jitsu was a big outlet for me, and I was like, this is amazing. This feels really good. I can go there and you kind of leave your demons at the door a little bit. And
another man.
Yeah, exactly. You have an aggressive cuddle and you feel a load better about it afterwards. And after that, it was just such an outlet. Again, I didn't really think much of it at the time. And then over time, I was like, is there something in this? Is there something we could do with it? Could we launch a business out of this? And I think, I don't know, it's a funny one because after you've had so many failures, you kind of, not so much failures, they weren't all massive failures or anything, but you just try lots of little steps, but you sort of look at it and think, oh well, let's just see what happens. And I don't know, that's probably a good thing that I've learned now, that you get to the point where you're just happy to keep sort of just taking as many hits as you want and just think, oh fuck it, I'll just give it a go. Whereas I think initially when we launched things, we overthought them. Every time we would like, this needs to be perfect, we can't launch it until it's amazing, until it's perfect. Whereas when we launched No Mercy, I was like, fuck it, let's give it a go, let's see what happens. We didn't even buy any stock. What we did was we got our old friend ChatGPT to mock up some flat lays, which looking back at them looked terrible. We don't have them on the website or anything anymore because they look like...
Flat lays, for people who don't know what that is, just a T-shirt with
T-shirt on a white background, that kind of stuff, like an e-commerce photo. But these, I mean, looking back at them, they were really bad. They just looked like they'd been like squashed against a piece of glass or something, whereas the new ones have now are a lot better. And we put it out there, put a few designs. I think we probably had like 5 or 6 different things. And we're like, let's just see what happens. We ran some Facebook ads. Let's just give it a go. If anything comes of it, then amazing. If nothing comes of it, then that's another one we can kind of put in the graveyard and move on. And it did really, really well. I think we got like, I don't know, 3 or 4 orders on the first day. And I was like, hang on a minute, this could be something, but let's just see what happens. What we did do is email the customers and said, I'm really sorry, but we've had a delay. Yeah. Exactly that. It's been so much busier than we thought it was going to be, and we apologise and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of them were like, no problem, can I have a refund? And some people were happy to wait. And I was thinking, more people than not were happy to wait. And I thought, hang on, there's something in this. Like, if they're happy to wait and they really want this gear, we could make something out of this. And then we bought a little bit of a stock order, and then went from there, and it's kind of grown from there ever since. the lesson we learned from Nueva, when we did it originally, we bought huge amounts of stock in. We were getting like stuff for the lowest cost, and it was really good quality stock, and it was really, really low like cost. So we were doing amazingly with it.
But you're still sitting on shit like stock.
Exactly. So it was an absolute killer. We were just sitting on so much of it. I mean, for example, if we were buying like a white jumper or something like that, we had to buy 300 of them minimum, which doesn't sound like loads, but it's a lot to get rid of. And when Foot Salon would come along and they maybe take 200, 250 of them, which is amazing.
Is that the same size?
Not the same size. It was split between sizes, which is a little bit better. But then if you wanted to restock them, it was another 300. So if a product went really well, you might
need more mediums. You got to get
exactly. So we were in a position where we couldn't figure it out, and people wanted the mediums, they didn't want the large, or whatever it would be, and it was a nightmare. So this time I looked at it and we thought, we're going to pay more at the front. It's going to be more expensive, but we're going to get so many more minimums. So some of them we might only buy 5 or 10. So we buy so few of them, and it's that's helped us massively because it gives us that kind of. It gives a bit of scarcity. So when we drop a product, we really don't have many of them at all. Like it's genuinely, we don't have many that they're going to sell out, which has been a real benefit. Because with the Nueva stuff, we were quite often like, please take it. Do you know what I mean? Please. We're trying to sell it, and the more you're trying to sell it to a customer, they just get a bit sort of turned off by it, and then they're in a position where I don't want. If you're trying to get rid of them, I don't really want it. And the same with the shops, and the same with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I guess you don't want to sort of then become like 70% off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
people get groove into that price, don't they?
That was exactly it. If we couldn't get rid of it, which quite often would happen, we'd have a big sale at Black Friday, and if it still didn't go, what the fuck are we going to do now? Like we couldn't get rid of it like 70 or 80% off. Like we just sat on it.
100% off.
Yeah. Just please take it. We'll pay you. Like it was just like ended up being a situation like that. So I was like, we can't have that again. We can't be in a position where we've just got like this huge warehouse of stock, and we're just sitting on so much of it and can't get rid of it. So we've done like really, really small minimums on things. Some of it we still, to this day, we don't get them in until we see that customers are interested, or we might put like a wait list out there and sign up when it's back in stock. And if a lot of people sign up for it, we're like, right, cool.
You know
there's something in this.
Can you say like, I don't know how long the lead times are, but can you say like 7 to 10 days?
Yeah. So we've got a few different warehouses again, which has been manufacturers, which have been really handy because we use them a lot of them from the Nueva
UK or China or
no, China and Turkey. Those ones are so. They're quite quick. I mean, it depends what it is. If they really get their ass in gear, maybe 2 weeks. Okay. So it's not terrible. Yeah. But because we were buying so much smaller amounts, whereas when it was with the Nueva stuff, it was like months. And it would come on a boat because we were getting like containers full of stuff. So it would be months. We'd order it, and then it'd be like 3 to 6 months later. And you couldn't really hype up the gear before that as well. It was just a nightmare. It was so much more sort of logistically a headache. And I don't know, it ended up taking the fun out of it a little bit. And I think you weren't focusing on running the business, you were just focusing on like clearing the stock all the time. And it was just like, I don't know, you started to resent the stock a little bit in a weird kind of way. You never really...
Looking at it.
Yeah, it was like, with our warehouse, we've got like the offices in the front and the warehouse at the back. We're still in the same place we were. And you'd walk around the warehouse and just be like, fuck's sake. Just like, you'd hate it almost kind of thing. And you get in that position, whereas it's so nice to see stuff going through and coming out the door and it just flying out.
Yeah, even if you know that I'm not paying rock bottom for it because the quantity, it's that turnover of it.
Exactly, yeah. Which we're not making as much on it, but it's not terrible or anything like that. I think if I'm looking at in some kind of way with Nueva, we were almost too stingy with it, and we were like, what's the lowest amount we can buy it in for, and how much we have to get it. We'll get it for that then, and we were just trying to squeeze the margin.
You're trying to think about the profits rather than the cash flow, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. At the time, you're like, well, if we sell these, we're going to have 40 quid a hoodie. It's going to be amazing. And you look at it and you think, this is a really shitty way to run a business, because then it's great per item, but on the whole
the
thing,
amount you've got to push it to actually get that volume.
It was just terrible. So that was a nightmare, and it got worse. I think the other reason with that as well was because we were selling it wholesale. We needed the volume to get the cost down, so that when we were selling it to the shops, that there would actually be enough in it to sort of justify them making any money on it. But so it was just really, really tough, really tough with that. But it's been like a huge learning curve, and I feel really glad to have gone back to it. I think, because I looked at it now, and I'm hindsight and all that kind of stuff. I look at it and I'm like, why did we not go back to clothing earlier? Because we know a lot about it. We know a lot about the industry. We know a lot of the manufacturers. We know what we're looking for. We know what a lot of other people don't know. And if anyone comes in to compete with us now, we've kind of got like 5 or 6 years experience on somebody else that's starting fresh. And obviously we still make mistakes and things like that. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, why? Yeah, I don't know. When you fail, you learn so much more than sometimes when you win. And I think from that failure, we just learned so much and figured out so many things, almost not what not to do. Yep. And it's just been, it's been brilliant from that. So and I think the thing is as well, probably looking back at it as well, if we'd have started straight afterwards, like 2 weeks after closing down Nueva Club, I'd have hated it again. But it was quite nice to have that time of reflection, have a couple of years off, think about what we wanted to do, and yeah, recharge and go again, basically. And I spent a lot of time on That's Nice That, and still That's Nice That is a good business, and we still have that. But it was just nice to have that kind of.
Is that still like the bread?
That's still the the breadwinner, the main business, and we are seeing. So, for example, we sell a lot on Shopify with That's Nice That, but we are seeing immediately that with No Mercy that it is performing better on Shopify. Obviously, we don't do it on any marketplace or anything like that. We're avoiding that. We're avoiding the wholesale route for the time being. But yeah, we're immediately seeing it's performing better than That's Nice That on Shopify already, which is crazy. Really? Yeah. It's only, it's 6 months old, the business, and it's already overtaken.
Marketing on that is Google. And,
we don't actually do any Google. Amazingly,
you wouldn't type it in, would you?
Yeah, we're going to start
unless it's like jiu-jitsu wear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we're going to start running it. I'm going to experiment with it at some point because I'm really hands-on with the marketing. I sort of deal with all of it. So we are going to start running it. But, Google's a fucking nightmare to use. So I always find that it's really, really difficult. So that's why I've put it off. But yeah, you pretty much bang on. Like, people don't search for it as much as they see the image of it, or they see someone else wearing it.
Don't realise they want it until they see it.
Exactly, right? Yeah, exactly. And I think for us, the big benefit we've had, which again, a happy coincidence with it, with the kind of jiu-jitsu side of it, or those fight gyms and things like that, is you be in a position where someone will wear it. I really like your hoodie, or I really like the top, or whatever. And then you're in a position where they can see that it's a real thing and they'll buy it. Whereas, with the Nuevo stuff, I don't know, people used to sort of gatekeep it a little bit more, and they didn't really want the mates to all wearing the same thing. Whereas I think with gym wear, it's a little bit different. People tend to be a bit happier to be seen wearing, I don't know, the same thing in the gym.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be wearing everyone. No. We're all wearing the same bloody stuff here. Look a bit odd. So yeah, that's what it tends to be with that kind of stuff.
I guess is then the benefit of it is there's little seasonality with it, because obviously. Yeah. I don't do jiu-jitsu. Most of it's inside, I would have thought. Yeah. So it's like...
Sorry, I don't know why they don't
do it on a mountain sometimes.
Do you know what I mean? There's no outside
the park could have a little bit of jiu-jitsu.
Fighting someone. Yeah, exactly that.
So I guess, there's no sort of...
exactly, yeah. So that's exactly it. So we do... obviously, people do tend to sort of lock in a little bit more in the winter and do it then. But yeah, it tends to be good. And we are trying to... It started off originally just very, very niche in jiu-jitsu, and we were just talking to that audience, but we've tried to expand it out a little bit more so it kind of encompasses like boxing and things like that. So but we still want to have that kind of fight wear element to it. So it's got that running through it all the time. But yeah, exactly. There is seasonality to it. But that was another thing with That's Nice That, which is still the problem with That's Nice in a way. The seasonality is massive. Like Christmas, Father's Day, all that kind of stuff. It goes absolutely crazy. Whereas... No Mercy, we don't tend to have those peaks and troughs. But again, it's early days, so we might find that there's a little bit of that going on. So yeah.
So all of this sounds quite stressful. So do you? But you the way you articulate it, you don't seem like you would. To me, you don't seem like you get that stress.
No, don't get me wrong. Like, you catch me on a good day, but like, I think it's again another lesson I've learned with it. I think if you're enjoying it, it's not as stressful. Like, I don't know, you've almost. A lot of the time you've asked for it, and I think you can't really complain about something you've asked for, and I think I find it more stressful when it's not going well. So yeah, I don't really tend to get stressed about it. I think this is probably one of the most enjoyable times of my life at the moment, which is again after the dark times of when a business is folding. Because I've summarised it like, oh god, we just sold it off to TK Maxx and it was a piece of cake, and that's fine. Oh, it's hell. Like you've got kind of shops turning up, and you're trying to chase the shops, trying to get money off of them. The factories are trying to get money off of you, and you can't pay any of your bills, and you can't pay any staff, and it's a nightmare because you've got the money sitting on the shelves. You've got like £10 notes sitting on the shelves. It's all dressed up as a fucking.
So at that point, are you approaching TK Maxx? Or
so we did. Yeah, I don't think. I don't think they really do approach other brands. I think they want you to approach them and be like, "We're desperate. Like, please, please take it."
They've got the upper hand in the deal.
Exactly. Then, annoyingly, in the end, I think they took a lot of it for pretty much the cost we bought it for, / even cheaper than that. So they were getting an absolute bargain. But by the time we got to that point,
you're happy just to...
Yeah, we were happy to get rid of it, but it was also like a bit of a dead brand then, because by the time it's in TK Maxx, it's not really the best time. Yeah, exactly. You think, oh God, you've sort of destroyed the...
Do you still go TK Maxx Rutland and go...
Yeah, it's still in there. Yeah, it's still knocking about at the back of the shelf, and like have a little cry, like wipe my tears with a hoodie. But so it's, I don't know, I don't get too stressed with it now. I think I kind of enjoy the journey of it a bit more, and I think I feel like now... When I started the business or the businesses, I took on everything. I was like, I have to do every single part of it. Like if there's an order going out, I have to be there one to put the sticker on it or to wrap it up or whatever like that. And then you take on so much stress that you don't really need to take on. And I try and spread it out as much as possible, which I'm not sure my team will be happy about. But then you try and sort of give them the jobs and take a little bit of pressure off and things like that. Whereas when we were doing Nuevo, I just took it all on my own, and it was awful. Whereas I think now, again, you get your good days and you get your bad days, but now it's enjoyable. You can see you're building something. It just feels so much more fun. It feels like how a business is supposed to be, and we're still getting this amazing feedback from the customers that are like, just the designs or the product or whatever it is really resonates with them, and that just makes you, I don't know, it gives you like another little boost to keep going. Whereas a lot of the time with the other side of the businesses, when you're selling it to a shop, you don't really tend to hear that kind of stuff. They keep it to themselves. So you kind of,
where's the margin in this, mate?
Yeah, and you sort of a bit of a thankless job. And
skew to them, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And then they kind of they just slag you off if something doesn't sell. You only hear the bad sides. You don't hear any of the good stuff. So exactly that. Like, what's the margin in it? And you think, oh God, like I don't know, I've put my bloody life and soul into that a little bit. So it's nice. It's really, really nice to have that relationship with the customer and actually talk to them and see what they're feeling and see what they're thinking. That's been I'd probably say that's probably one of the biggest things, actually. Building that community has been lovely.
Well, I suppose forgetting about the wholesale thing and going direct to the customer. I don't know what the pricing difference is, but you could probably sell one hoodie and make the same as you're selling 10, maybe. I don't know, or whatever.
Probably. I mean, the problem we've got is because we're buying it in a higher price, we're probably a bit better than we were wholesale, but we're about there or thereabouts. Right. So we've lost the margin. Whereas with Nuevo, we used to have a mega margin. We'd be buying in hoodies for, I don't know, it was like £6-7 and selling them on for 50, which sounds amazing, but then your marketing costs would get taken from that. So that was a lot of it. And then the wholesale, they'd want it for like a third of the price of what you'd be selling it online, and that was the big problem. Whereas, with the No Mercy stuff, we've removed a lot of that margin, but because you're direct with the customer, I think as well you get a lot of repeat business. So you market them, cost you however much it costs you to acquire the customer, but then they'll come back, which is amazing. Whereas, when it's the shops, you're kind of looking back at it again. You can't really do anything about it.
Risk, aren't you? Yeah, like you went in with Foot Asylum. Yeah, and that's basically your only customer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you couldn't. The challenge we had with Foot Asylum, again, hindsight and all that kind of stuff, is that you can't tell them where to put it in the shop. So they might put it in the far corner of the shop, and it will sell like absolute shit. And then they'll tell you it's selling badly, and then you'll go visit the shop it's selling badly, and you'll think, well, because it's hidden away in the men's toilet or something like that, and like no one's buying it, and it's all that kind of stuff. And a lot of the time as well, Foot Asylum, we were speaking a lot with their creative teams, and they would design stuff. They would ask us to design stuff, and they say, we think that, I don't know, bright blue is going to be a big colour. They brought out one year, they said bright yellow is going to be a really mega colour. I'm not sure about that. But they said jump, and we said how high, and we just did whatever they said. And then it didn't sell, and then they criticised us for it not selling rather than taking any responsibility themselves. And again, so then they sort of think, I'm not sure we trust you as much as we used to because your yellow version didn't sell. I'm like, what's your fucking idea? You know what I mean? We would never have done the yellow version, but...
Who are you dealing with? Are you just dealing with someone on 50 grand a year who's got a job?
Pretty much, yeah.
Somebody actually knows what they're talking about?
And they've got bosses as well, and I understand it, but they would quite easily just blame us. It was so much easier for them they wouldn't ever come forward and say, that was my idea. I designed the yellow one, and that's cost us like £8,000 in stock or whatever it would have been. They just go, you fucking idiots! I told you yellow wouldn't work, and that was kind of that. So we got, and then we get stuck with all the yellow stuff that we couldn't sell, and it was an absolute nightmare. So there's that side of stuff. Wholesale had its place, and I think you need to be a certain side business before you can
dive into it.
You want to be judging it, but it is it's brilliant if you want to get like a huge boost straight away. But it will come crashing down eventually. It will, can do come crashing down.
But you feel like, I guess, like you say, you almost feel like they're bitch, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and then you're like, because they are possibly like your main customer. I've got to kind of do what they say to make sure I've got this income.
Yeah, and we would have been very brave, I think, to turn around and say, like, no, we're not doing that. Yeah, and that was the thing. They brought out we had some designs that were really good sellers. Again, the stuff that would sell really well with that kind of stuff was always the sort of more neutral, simple kind of stuff, like a black hoodie or a white t-shirt or whatever. They were the ones. And then someone would go, we've had this idea for a bright blue one or like I say, a bright yellow one or whatever it be. And you knew that it looked shit. And you'd send off this mock-up, like a CAD of it to them. And you'd say, like, what do you think? I love it. It's amazing. And you think, fuck, I really didn't want you to say anything to that. But they loved it because it was their design. It was their baby. And I think what they would do, again, I don't know this because we were never in there, but I think what they would do is they would have these T-shirts, get them in stock, wait for them to sell, and if they did sell really well, then they'd go to their bosses and go, I designed that. And if it sold like shit, go, those bloody Nuevo guys, they haven't got a clue what they're doing. And we just saw that all the time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so if they won, then they were absolutely amazing. If it didn't work, then they were just blaming somebody else. And that was a bit of a nightmare. So... And then, like I said, it just left us with massive stock headaches. So we're trying to build it the right way this time. We're just trying to go around it the slow way, the right way, which has been really, really fun. And I think, again, just sort of got the joy back for it, making the content again. it's just been so much more fun than sort of previous ones have been. And yeah, getting involved and talking to the community and that kind of stuff it's just been really, really great compared to sort of previous things.
Which I suppose that's a little bit different from That's Nice That, right?
Yeah, That's Nice That, again, don't get me...
machine.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, like, you're still sort of... Again, you're always worried about margins and stuff with businesses, but yeah, you're much more kind of concerned about the cost of every item that goes out and the margin of every item and acquiring a customer and where's the next customer going to come from. And you don't always have the sort of care that you should on each one. Again, that sounds bad, like we don't give a shit when we send stuff out, and that's not the case. But you kind of you have to kind of get it out the door and kind of sell things. Everything's got a cost, and I think that's really difficult sometimes to get that across to team members, where we're trying to they're trying to spend forever on getting an item just right. Which again, it sounds like we don't do that at all, which is not the case. But there's a cost and there's a margin in each thing. Whereas with No Mercy, we really want to spend time on making sure the customer's having the best time ever and they're getting the best gear. Which is not to say that we don't do that. That's nice.
Yeah, I suppose with No Mercy, you know, if someone likes the brand and you had 10, 20 items, someone could buy all of them.
Yeah.
Whereas it's very unlikely someone's going to buy
a
mug that says "I love you, Mum" 10 times or 20
exactly.
times.
And that's the thing. And we do have occasionals where they go, "That's my favourite mug," and I've broke it, I'll buy another one or whatever. But just not enough.
Few and far between.
Yeah, exactly. And what we'll quite often find is that we'll, like I say, acquire the customer for their birthday, and then they might want to buy something else from somebody else for Christmas or whatever, and you're just relying on them to come back. Whereas No Mercy, exactly that. But the other benefit, again, which we didn't think about before we started it, was that people wear it in the gym, and then they see somebody else wearing it, and they're like, "I absolutely love that stuff," and then they will buy a different colour of it or whatever. And
I think it probably means you're not. How do I put this? You're not a specialist in That's Nice That.
Yeah.
You're a specialist in the gym gear.
Exactly. And that's
that lends itself to people coming back to you.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. And that's a lot of it was thought out, and we did think there's potential for this and potential for that, but a lot of it's been like a happy coincidence. I think that we didn't realise that it was going to have. Yeah, people see you as a bit of a specialist, and again now we realise that's what's going on. We're sort of consciously not trying to do, I don't know, running gear or anything like that, because I don't want to just be sort of nothing to everybody again and kind of ruin all of that. But with That's Nice That, you do end up becoming that. You become a bit of a jack of all trades and like a master of none, and people don't go, "Oh, I'm going to get a mug, I have to get it from you." It's just get a cushion from us one week and then move on to the next thing. Exactly, and move on to the next thing. So that's the thing. And I think again, it's just lovely to be building a brand again and to kind of getting back on that journey. And it's just fun. I don't know. It's just really, really fun. I just really, really enjoy doing it again. And it's just that kind of, I don't know, a bit of little vigor back about doing business, because running a business is hard. Like it's so tough. I don't know. I think a lot of days nowadays you see like people selling the entrepreneur dream, and it sounds like it's some amazing journey that you can be part of, and it's so much fun, and you never have a bad day. But when you start getting in the trenches and your business gets to a certain size, and I think if you're running it from home or something, then it can be really fun for a long time. But you start paying rent, and then you start paying business rates, and you start paying VAT, you start paying staff, and then you start paying corporation tax and those kind of stuff. You're like, this isn't as fun anymore. So you have to have something you enjoy doing, or at least you can see there's something you're building from it. And I think, or you have an exit plan or whatever, and you think I can do this for 3 years and then I'm done or whatever. But it's so nice to have that again with the kind of No Mercy side of things, and just be building, I don't know, for the fun of it again. And I look at it as something I could do for years and years and years, and it's just, honestly, it's so much fun. And I know so many people I've met through it. Again, another happy coincidence. We've done photo shoots, and I've made some really, really good friends out of it. So it's just been so nice to do it. Yeah, so it's been such a cool thing to be part of already. So yeah, it's been. So
what's like
really
the
good.
Future? Like, where would you want to see it in the next 5 to 10 years? I know we were talking off camera, and you're talking about possible exit on some business.
That's the thing. I think when we did it before, we've got a decent sized warehouse at the moment. We've got a decent sized team that runs out of it, and we have kind of everything under one roof. And the plan originally, again, it sounds really easy when you say it, was we were going to have multiple businesses under one roof. And I was like, we're paying for the building, we might as well have 5 or 6 different brands under the same thing, and it'll be easy, be a piece of cake, and I'll do the marketing from all. It'll be great. And in reality, you find that the staff end up prioritizing one business over the others. So they really like making the mugs, but they don't like making the cushions. So mugs are going out like hotcakes, but then the cushions aren't going out, or whatever it would happen to be. And that was a real problem. And it's just like headache on top of headache. We had, I think at our peak, we had like 20 staff. So it's just an absolute nightmare. Like you're just getting questions coming from all angles, and some of them are really important, some of them are not. But you're just constantly putting out fires all day, and you're really struggling to grow the business because all you're doing is just dealing with people's problems all the time, and it's just an absolute nightmare. So yeah, so looking at the future, we are looking at potentially like downsizing or selling off elements of the business, elements of the other brands. We've got a few at the minute under the same roof, and then focusing on No Mercy and trying to build that up. And I think as well to have that, the thing that's a challenge I think with that is that to have it and to sell it is one thing. It sounds amazing. You get this big lump sum and it sounds like great and you sort of sell off into the sunset, but then all of a sudden the cash flow stops. And I think that's the bit I'm worried about personally, is you don't have this kind of continual thing. Because at the moment, that's
you mean personally for your own?
Yeah, personally and for the business and to keep everything running.
Help pay the rent and all that.
Help pay the rent, pay staff wages, that kind of thing, and keep people busy and all that kind of stuff. And it's all of a sudden then you're kind of doing it without a safety net to a little degree, and it just gets it's like playing on hard mode. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like it's a tougher thing to do.
It's cool for you though, because everyone that I spoke to that sold a business that hasn't had something directly straight away to go into, it's like become depressed.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah, I used to think when you're younger, you think, oh, that's the dream. You sell it and you go play golf every day and you don't do anything else. But I'm like,
it obviously wears off very
God,
quickly.
I find if I'm I don't know, I'm going to have a Saturday or a Sunday of not working, I'm like, I'm bored. I want to be doing something and I want to be fiddling around with a Facebook ad or thinking of a new content idea. I'm constantly like emailing myself ideas or I'll see something and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll look at that on Monday or whatever. So I love it. And I would happily sort of work all hours of the day. I get into the office early and I quite often stay till like 9 or 10 o'clock at night and just work and work and work. And I don't sort of do it intentionally. Like, I just like it. Yeah. And I just sort of don't look at the clock and I'm just sort of a little bit more. I've just got started with this, or I'll just finish that off and then I just keep going. So yeah, that's what it is. So I can only imagine if you sold it and had nothing else to do, oh God, I'd be bored out of my mind. I don't think I'd do it for very long. So I think that's the thing. I think whatever it kind of sells for and whoever we speak to, I think it's if that's the route we do decide to go down, it's just that'll be the main shock is the cash flow. I think it'll be this big lump of money, then it'll be like, oh God, like I've got to make this work now. No Mercy, it's kind of all I'm thinking, which is quite like the idea. Because that big lump is making you. It's always going to stay. If you keep it, it's staying there, isn't it? You know, it's not. Yeah, exactly. Not going down. Well, it is eventually, like with inflation and whatnot. It does eventually lose its value. Kind of, if you've, I don't know, 50 grand today is worth less than 50 grand. However much in the future. And so I'm sort of aware of that and trying to build things. So you don't want to sort of sit on and do nothing with it. We've done that before. We've had the business, and you have a big lump of money in the bank, and you get so comfortable and so lazy. I don't know if guys have had the same thing where you have a really good Christmas or whatever, and you're like, oh, we're fine now. I don't have to really try very hard. And I'm trying to sort of put it away, spend it, or not necessarily on stupid things, but spend it on something for the business, try and grow the business, because you want to have your back against the wall a little bit, where you want to be trying to fight to grow it a little bit. Whereas if you're just constantly sitting in comfort, it ends up being, I don't know, you just get really comfortable and
you get bored.
Yeah, basically bored.
And then you find yourself, oh shit, I'm in the shit here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the business eventually
left it 2 years or whatever. Yeah. And you go, oh, I should have done that 2 years ago.
Exactly. And your business goes down, and you think you almost want to be kind of constantly not losing that sort of fighting spirit. I think with the businesses and constantly having your back against the wall and. Yeah, almost making drama to the. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I'm doing that with the team where we've had a good time, and I'm like, oh, it's shit at the minute because and I'm like, come on, like, do you know what I mean? Trying to get everyone to get involved. It's so much easier.
One bad day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
to a normal person though. That probably sounds like you're basically saying, I just need to be constantly shitting.
Yeah. It sounds like that. Like, it sounds like, oh, I like to be constantly stressed, but it's not the case. It's just kind of more of a, I don't know. You want to be just kind of constantly trying to. You push yourself onto another level, and I think if you kind of get comfortable at a certain level, you end up sitting there and staying there, and it's not a place you want to be. And that's I have found myself having like seasons in my life where I've stayed there for a year, and I'm exactly like you said. You look back and you're like, fucking hell, I didn't make that move, and I didn't do this, and I didn't buy that kit, or I didn't try this brand, I didn't push things on, and you look back and think, if I'd have started this a year ago, I could have been there by now already. But you live and you learn, don't you? And
totally.
I think as you get older, you do get more routines, and you start to work out way more clearly what works and what doesn't. Which is the sort of position I find myself in now. I'm like, right, cool. I know most days where I should be and what I should be doing. Whereas, I think that's the thing when you start in a business when you're a lot younger. You just think, I ain't got a clue what I'm doing, and I'm just sort of making it up as I go along. And it's so easy to end up being a busy idiot. Whereas I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible now, which is a nice place to be.
I think when you said like that, you concentrate on marketing as well, and obviously you've got to a certain level, you're probably pretty good at it, and then you think, well, actually, I could, anything that comes your way that you think that is good, you go, well, I know how to push that, rather than like, where am I going to put that out to? Or,
exactly, yeah.
That's the main failing in businesses, I think. Like these companies that take on. We were talking earlier on failed businesses that get taken over.
Turn
by other
them
people.
around, yeah.
You know, it's the marketing. You know,
As always,
they're probably not going to change the product that much. It's just all of a sudden creating like,
Yeah, where can I push this to? Where can what angle hasn't been attacked?
Yeah, exactly that. And I think if you can do the marketing for it, you can sort of succeed with most brands. Like, don't get me wrong, we've done it before, and I'm sort of always learning as we go. And I think nowadays with Facebook and Instagram, things like that, it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
So you're constantly sort of having to reinvent yourself, and what works today might not work tomorrow, which is again comes back to where you want to be pushing yourself on and never getting comfortable at the level you're at. But yeah, it is a really, really tough one, and you constantly having to be sort of reinventing yourself as much as possible. But yeah, we have had businesses before where we thought, well, we can market this really easy, and it's like anything, you end up sort of being in a bit of a valley of despair where you kind of start it and you think, oh, I know everything about this, I'm going to be amazing, oh God, whoever's run this business before doesn't have a clue. And then when you get into it, you're like, oh shit, this is why it's really tough to do this, or it's really tough to do that. And you don't know what you don't know. So yeah, there have been businesses before we've launched it and you look at the margins are amazing, but then you don't realize the cost to acquire a customer is insane. So yeah, we have had that, definitely. And there are certain things you know how to do, but maybe not everything. So that's the thing with the marketing side of things. So yeah, so with the clothing, again, that is my sort of bread and butter. So I'm quite happy with doing that at the moment. And it's been nice to sort of, I don't know, get back into it's something I understand again, which has been it's been good.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming down, mate.
Yeah, no, it's
good. That
that was nice. That
I to say that from the
trying to find a way to.
I can't wait to the last bit so I can say that's good.
Trying to find a way to squash it in. It's no, happy to come down. It's just nice to talk about business. You don't get many people that you can always talk to. And
if people want to buy stuff, so that's nice.com.
Yeah, nomercy.uk.
Yeah.
Got everything on there. We're launching new stuff all the time with No Mercy, and it does genuinely sell out really quickly. So like, yeah, if you want to get anything, you know the place to go.
Cool.
If you're into your jiu-jitsu, into your fighting.
Yeah.
That's me.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers. Thank you.